nearlydanish.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Well done, Olga. Okay. I thought I actually didn't put this in here. You guys heard me talk about this. Do those quizzes, okay? We're moving on. I don't have to explain that again. So we are actually doing the test from November. Let's see how you guys do on this. Wow. I'm shocked. Okay, so Paul Nyrup Rasmussen was Social Democratic Prime Minister from 1993 to 2001. Now, if an easy way to do this is to go to the website and you see people in the book, okay? I think this is chapter 1. He is mentioned in chapter 1. Let me see if I can find him. So these are all the people that were mentioned in the book in chapter 1. As you can see, this is him here. And it clearly states he was the Social Democratic Prime Minister. So I highly recommend that, you know, take a good look at these things. They're all here for a reason. That this whole test is about events, people, places, and concepts. Once you understand that, you can start building up the model of that in your head. And that's it. Events, people, places, and concepts. All right, moving on. This is a weak spot. Now, I'll say this. And by the way, you guys will hear me say the same thing over and over again. I will be sounding like a broken record, but please bear with me. It is for a reason. That is actually how the brain learns, by repetition. These sessions, I know they might put you under a bit of pressure. You might feel a bit bad if you're not doing well. Don't feel bad. You come to these sessions to figure out what you don't know. And as you can see, this is a weak spot for 92 people. So 92 people did not know this. But the good news is now you know this. Okay? So you come here to figure out what you don't know. You plug that knowledge gap. So next time you see this question, you know that it's the Social Democratic Party.
Now you know what you don't know.
Next one. Olga is number 1. Remove the top bar with recorded? What do you mean? All right, round of applause. Okay, only 11 people got this wrong. Now you know what you don't know. This is about the responsibilities of the commune. Yes, and they could ask about the responsibilities of the commune, the region, or the state. So they all have different responsibilities, okay? Go to the part of the book that talks about this and make a list of those responsibilities because they could ask about any one of those. All right, next one. All right, 19 people. For 19 people, this was a weak spot. Now you know what you don't know. In Denmark, a single person can choose to end the marriage, and it doesn't matter what the other person wants or doesn't want. Okay. Next one. All right. Now, this is a great example. Why? Because this was a brand new question. This question had never shown up before. This test is made up of a mixture, okay? So in the history section, so the first 35 questions, it's a mixture of questions that have shown up before in previous tests and questions that have not shown up before in previous tests. So I call them frequently asked questions and new questions, okay? So when you are on the site and you're practicing, you will see, let me see, let's take Olga, for instance, right? When you click on this and you start one of the quizzes, you see it says potential new question. So this is a question that has never been asked before that could be asked, okay? And so far the test has been getting more and more difficult because previously, like in 2019, all I did was practice with all the previous tests and I passed the test. I got 37 out of 40. There were no Danish values back then. But that was because 95% of the test was frequently asked questions. Now that's changing. Half the questions are now questions that have never been seen before. Now you can find all the frequently asked questions here. Okay? And you can see it says appeared in 12 tests. There's about 200 of these questions, and you must know the answers to these questions, every single one of them, because you will definitely see at least 10 of them again. Okay? This one had never shown up before. Now, another thing to note is that this is from chapter 5, literature. Okay? And if you go to the website and you look under people in the book, chapter 5, under literature, you will see this lady. She's the one that wrote the book. Okay? So invest some time. I'm working on actually creating individual quizzes for each of these people. That would come later. But invest some time in these things because they could ask about any one of these people. All right. Moving on. For the people that got this wrong, this thing is about 87 people.
Now you know what you don't know.
Next one. All right. Okay, what's this about? So this is about when Denmark was invaded by Germany, Second World War, and it's asking about how long did Denmark actually challenge the Germans, and it was less than a day. Some Danish people died, and the government decided to call off the defense. This is a frequently asked question. It's shown up in at least 2 tests. For the people that got this wrong, now you know what you don't know. All right, at the moment we have James, Adnan, Kinson, Graceful, and Olga. Let's see who the superstar is going to be in this cohort. I can already tell that Olga is making a go for it, but let's see how she goes. Let's see how it goes with her. Okay, so the question is, who consists of, like, who are the people that are in the European Parliament? And they're politicians that are voted in directly from their countries. So there's a European Parliament election every 5 years in Denmark. There was one in June this year. The last one was in 2019. So 2019 plus 5, 2024, boom, we had an election. It's probably going to be a question about the European Parliament election under current affairs. But let's see. How many people got this wrong? 56 people got this wrong. This is a weak spot. Plug that knowledge gap.
Now you know what you don't know.
Next one. All right. Okay, so in Denmark, you have three courts. You've got Byret, Landsret, and Højesteret. So that's the district courts, the high courts, and the Supreme Court. And you can appeal decisions from the district courts to the high courts. So from Byret to Landsret, and you can appeal decisions from the high court to the Supreme Court. So from Landsret to Højesteret. However, by the time you get to the Supreme Court, which is the Højesteret, the decision is final. All right, next one. Mr. Clarkson is making a comeback with 3 in a row, and he's on fire.
Oh my! He's on fire!
Next one. FAQ, frequently asked question. Okay, so this is about an event that happened in the 1300s, and that was the creation of Kalmar Union. And Kalmar Union was a union between Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, and the head of that union was Queen Margaret the First, and I think her dad was Valdemar Attertag. But let's have a look. This thing I was saying where you can actually go to it's mentioned here. That's her. Okay. And in the timeline, I need to clean up these links. But in the timeline, you could okay, you could see there's an event that happened in the 1300s. Let's get to it. 10. Okay. Doom, 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 doom. There we go. Formation of the Kalmar Union, and it talks about this. So remember what I said. All the questions are about events, people, concepts, and places. You're not going to see questions about anything else. So once you understand that, you can begin building a model in your head. This was a weak spot for 68 people. For the 89 people that got this right, round of applause. That was also an FAQ. We've got a static top 5.
Static top 5.
And Kawa is making a comeback with 3 in a row.
Excellent.
Next one. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yes, Natalia, I'm working on fixing that as well. I'll fix all those things. Okay, so this was also a brand new question in this test, and this is about a person, and I think chapter 6, if I'm not mistaken. Let's have a look. Vitus. Yes, there we go. So he was an explorer, and they asked about him. So remember what I said, they could ask about any one of these people. So take some time, read up about these guys. Every single one of them here appears in the book. So I've extracted all of them and I've created these things so you can go and have a look, because they could ask about any single one of these guys. They had never asked about Vitus Bering before, and they asked about him this time. So the next guy could be, I think they asked about him when I took the test. It could be her. I think she's French, if I'm not. Anyways, yeah, you get the point. Moving on to the next one. All right, so Graceful is now at number 1. Rhoda G is back in the game.
Great job.
Next one. All right. The Socialist People's Party was formed in 1959. So another thing I'd suggest you do is write down, make a list of all the political parties in parliament, the day that they were created, the year that they were created, who's their leader, and the first time they were voted into parliament, because they could ask about any one of those. Okay, next one. All right, round of applause to the guy that got this right. So the Faroe Islands has about 50,000 people. Olga is back in number 1. Tao Ting is making a comeback with 3 in a row. That's a familiar name. Anyways.
Excellent.
Next one. All right, so how has unemployment developed in the last 10 years? It's fallen. So the Danish economy is doing really well at the moment. 49 people got this wrong.
Now you know what you don't know.
This is a question that had never shown up before. So this was a brand new question. All right, so just to reiterate, the purpose of these Kahoots is, so I put you in a simulation. So if you were taking this test in 2023, would you pass? Okay. You come here and you make your mistakes. You figure out the mistakes that you made. You go, you plug that knowledge gap, and you come back next time and you try again. So right now we're doing actual tests. So these are actual tests created by the government. Later, I will be giving you mock tests. So I'll be creating tests based on what I know, the patterns I know about how these tests are put together. And we will be trying that with real-time information. So this is obviously the first 35 questions are history, but the current affairs in these ones are also history because this is from 2023. But with the mock test, they are real things that have happened in the last 6 months. All right, on to the next one. All right, almost 100%. All right, right, Olga is climbing the charts. RCB114 is back in an answer streak of 3. I've seen that name. I think he's on the leaderboard. Yeah, he's number 2. Round of applause to you, man. And by the way, for the competitive guys here, you actually gain more points per question in the Kahoots than in the quizzes on the website. So here, per question, you can gain up to 1,000 points. On the website, the maximum you can get is 800 if you get the question right the first time. If you have to correct the question, it goes down to 600. So gain all your points here. Come here, test yourself, because this is more like I try to create a simulation, like I've said before, of the real test. And also here, I give you less time than you have it in the actual test. I'll give you 20 seconds to answer these questions. In the test, you have 1 minute per question. So I put you under a bit more pressure here than in the real test. And hopefully that way you can go there and it will be a walk in the park for you. All right, next one. FAQ as well. Okay, for the people that got this wrong, now you know what you don't know. Let's try and move this quickly. I've been talking a lot. Frequently asked question. Okay, this is a weak spot. This is a frequently asked question. So this is a question that you must know the answer to. Johannes V. Jensen won the Nobel Prize in 1944. This appeared in 2019, as well as a bunch of other tests, and it also appeared in 2023. So I could see almost half of you got this wrong. So please get it right next time.
Now you know what you don't know.
Next one. All right, round of applause. Hill's listing has never been in the government. So that's what that question is about. We have a static top 5.
Static top 5.
Andrea is back in the game with 3 in a row.
She's on fire.
Next one. All right, so this question is about the absolute monarchy that was created between 1660 and 1661, where the king consolidated power and also became the head of the Danish church. Okay, Nazanin is back with an answer streak of 3. We've got Adnan, HB, Kinson, Olga, Judy F, and Graceful in the top 5. On to the next one. Okay. So in the 1960s, Denmark experienced a lot of growth, economic growth and production. Remember what I said. So the exam is about events, places, people, and concepts. So this is during the 60s. Next one. All right, so this was a brand new question as well. Never been asked before. I'm actually surprised a lot of you did well in this, so round of applause. Brand new question as well. So, majority of the kings and queens of Denmark are buried in Roskilde Domkirke, and that is where the queen, King Frederick, and everybody else who becomes king or queen will be buried in the future. How many people got this wrong? 22.
Now you know what you don't know.
This was new information from chapter 5, and they had just added this information in the book under tourist attractions in Denmark. Next one. All right, so Kinton is now at number 1. Adnan 2, Olga 3, Triple S, and Pet Kawa is making a comeback with 3 in a row.
Excellent.
We are almost at the halfway point. 45 questions. Yeah, we are at the halfway point now. So, Dansk Folkeparti was created by Pia Kjærsgaard, and I think she left the Progressive People's Party and created this in 1996, if I'm not mistaken. So this is another thing I was saying. Make a list of all the political parties in parliament when they were created, who created them, if that information is there, and the first time that they were elected into Folketing. Can't remember whether Dansk Folkeparti was created in 95 or 96, but that information is in the book and it's also in the quizzes. So please look that up. This is a weak spot for 62 people.
Now you know what you don't know.
Plug that knowledge gap. Next one. Olga is now at number 2. Round of applause to Olga. FAQ. All right, this is a question that you must know the answer to. Carl Nielsen is the most important Danish composer ever. I think he appears under music in chapter 5, if I'm not mistaken. So this is literature. Where is music? There we go. There he is. The most famous Danish composer ever. And that shows up in the test because his name pops up many, many times. the previous test. So you must know the answer to this. On to the next one. Okay, so I don't know how to say this name, but 3 in a row.
Excellent.
Next one. All right. Well done.
Great job.
All right. So Nina Bang was the first female minister appointed by Thorvald Stauning. And that was the first time I think the Social Democrats were elected. No, not elected. That was the first Social Democratic Prime Minister, 1924. Let me see if I can find that in the timeline. So Thorvald. Okay, it's not here. But she appears in chapter 1. What's her name? Nina. Yeah. So Denmark's first female minister serving as Minister of Education from 1924 to 1926. Denmark's first Social Democratic Prime Minister serving from 1924 to 1926. So he appointed her. All right. Moving on to the next one. This is a weak spot. So for the people that got this wrong,
Now you know what you don't know.
this is a frequently asked question. So this is a question that you must know the answer to. So it's good that you came here, figured out that you don't know this. Now you know it. Plug that knowledge gap. So if you see it again, you answer correctly. All right. It seems like the competition is between Triple S and Olga for that number 3 spot. Ramil is back in the game with 3 in a row. So about 15% of the Danish population is made up of immigrants and their descendants. How many people got this wrong? 53. Now you know what you don't know. Get it right next time. On to the next one. Read the question slowly. All right, so the question is asking, was Denmark occupied by the Germans in World War I? And the answer is no. Denmark was a neutral country in World War I. So did not participate. We have a static top 5.
Static top 5.
Aga is making a comeback with 3 in a row.
Excellent.
Moving on to the next one. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
If you're not doing well, don't feel bad. And don't leave. Don't give up. Okay? If you're not feeling, not if you're not feeling well. if you're not doing well in this, okay, so if majority of your answers are wrong or you're making mistakes, don't feel bad, okay? It's better you make your mistakes here than you make those mistakes in the test. Come here, figure out what you don't know, go back and fix that. So which of the following parties, okay? So the key word here is which of, it's the following. And Liberal Alliance is the youngest out of these. Was created 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Remember what I said, make a list of all the political parties in parliament, the year that they were created, who is their leader, the year that they were elected into parliament. Okay, next one. 2011, thank you. Okay, 11 players have reached an answer streak of 3.
Great job.
All right, this was also a brand new question never been asked before. It's just a statistic. Not much to be said about that. Next one. Yeah, it's the ombudsman. And this is also a frequently asked question. So you will see the same question in different forms. Okay, next one. Triple S is completely out of the top 5. Sorry. The think tank is making a comeback with 3 in a row.
Excellent.
At the moment, we have Adnan, HB, Kinson, Olga, Anpet, and Graceful in the top 5. On to the next one. All right, I could see this is a weak spot, so 68 people got this wrong. Let's go back here. So I think this is chapter 5 under film. So for all those guys, the heck am I doing? Just search. Okay, so I think this is yeah, this is film. All the people that won Oscars, okay? I put pictures of them with Oscars in their hands. So that's this guy that Billy August, Thomas Vinterbier, Susanna Bier, Gabriel Axel. Okay, so these guys show up a lot. The Oscar winners, they ask about them a lot. All right. On to the next one. Okay, so in the 1600s, there were quite a few wars between Denmark and Sweden. And that's what this question is about. This is definitely a weak spot for more than half of you. Sorry, guys. This is during Christian IV's reign. Let's see what happened to the top 5. Graceful is out, but the other people stayed in, and Triple S is back in. Judy F just hit an answer streak of 6.
Excellent.
Okay, we have 13 questions to go, and we're done. This is the most frequently asked question. So if you fail this, you must know the answer to this. Okay, at least 49 people got this wrong. Okay, so if there is any question that you must know the answer to, it's this one. Now it's been asked in a slightly different way than it appears. Okay, let me just show you what I mean. If I go to his profile and I go to most frequently asked questions and I click on this, you see it's question number 1. It has appeared in 12 tests. It's asking directly, when did women get the right to vote? And the answer is 1915. However, in this, it's asked differently. It's asking, did women get the right to vote in 1849 when Grönland was created? And the answer is no, it came later. So for the people that got this wrong,
Now you know what you don't know.
you must know the answer to this, because this is the most probable question to show up on the next test. Next one. All right. So the pension age has kept on going up and up. And actually, now I think the Social Democrats have proposed to increase it to 70 years old. So that's something that they're discussing right now. How many people got this wrong? 35. Now you know what you don't know. Fix that. I think we are going into current affairs, but let's see. We have Adnan, Olga, and Petkinson fell to number 4. Chippy at number 5. 3 players just hit an answer streak of 8.
Great job.
Let's see, what is this? Okay, so I think this is the last history question. This is also an FAQ. All right. 21 people got this wrong. This is an FAQ, so frequently asked question. Denmark joined the United Nations right after World War II in 1945. All right, I think this is the end of history. Let's have a look at the podium. We've got Adnan, Olga, and Petkinson and Chippy at top 5. That was the end of the history section. We're moving into current affairs and Danish values. This is from November 2023. I don't expect you to know the answers to these questions. If you know the answer, it's a bonus. But what we will be focusing on is the theme of the question. And for each of them, I'll discuss the theme. So let's go. What's the theme of this, man? Okay, so the theme of this, okay, by the way, this was one of the questions. Okay, let me see if I can collect my thoughts here. We successfully predicted 4 out of 5 of the current affairs questions this year as well. This was the only one that I didn't get. The theme of this, though, it's Of course, it's abortion rights, right? But the overarching theme is under like women's rights in Denmark. And this was just a recommendation. However, I think this became law last year, or was it earlier this year? I can't remember. But anyways, I don't know how to label this, but I put this under women's rights. Some major news about women's rights. Next one. The rest of them, we predicted them. So I'll talk about these ones. Okay. This one is easy. All right. So the theme of this is political parties and their leaders. So remember that thing I told you? I said, make a list of all the political parties in parliament, the date that they were created, the leader of that party, the date that party was voted into parliament. Because it is highly relevant for history as well as current affairs. So usually there is a question about at least one political party leader. In this case, it was Troels Lund Poulsen. I think, what's his name? Ellemann Jensen, if I'm not mistaken, left. He quit politics, and then this guy, I think he was a Forsvars minister or something, still is, was elected to be the leader of that party, of Venstre. On to the next one. Jakob Ellemann Jensen, yes. All right. So the theme of this question is a major event in the royal family. There's usually a question about something that happened in the royal family. In the previous test, the most major thing that happened in the royal family was the queen abdicated and the king became king, Frederick X. This is about Prince Christian, Crown Prince Christian. So King Frederick X's first son. He just hit legal age, which is 18 in Denmark. So this was a major thing, you know, the future king has hit legal age. Next one. We have a static top 5. Yes. All right, so the theme of this is some kind of major political event and usually connected to some kind of scandal, right? So this is when burning any of the holy books, the Quran, the Bible, or the Torah was made illegal in Denmark and punishable by a jail sentence. How many people got this wrong? 36 people got this wrong.
Now you know what you don't know.
Like I said, this is current affairs from 2023, November 2023, right? I don't expect you guys to know this. Pay attention to the theme, though, because these themes reoccur. All right, moving on to the next one. I think this is the last current affairs question, and then we'll move on to Danish values. All right, so the theme of this is official visits by heads of state to Denmark, or official visits by the head of states of Denmark or the Danish prime minister to other countries. You can find information about this on the government website. Under news, you can see everything. This website is a bit slow. I'm not sure. And Congo, the UK. So wherever the king visited, you can find that. Wherever the queen visited, sorry, wherever the prime minister visited, you can find under here. So, and also whenever any president or head of state comes to Denmark, you can find that as well. Yes, I will put that. I'll put the websites here. 1 second. All right. So yes, moving on to the next one. All right, so that was it for current affairs. We're moving to Danish values. I'm not going to talk too much about this. There's a whole video on this on the channel. So under the channel, go to videos, just click on popular. Boom. This, I think, when did we do this? 3 months ago. So this is the most recent one. Watch this video, okay? It shows you how to think about it, how to approach these Danish values questions, because once you understand kind of the thought process behind them, then you're equipped to deal with any kind of question that's thrown your way, okay? We will have a dedicated session to Danish values because they are actually the most important questions. You can score 100% on current affairs and history. And if you fail 2 of those questions, you fail the whole test. So we're going to have a dedicated session on that. But in the meantime, watch that video, okay? All right, round of applause. Yeah, so someone is asking, is it 2 or 1 out of 5? So you can fail 1. If you fail 2, you fail the whole test. You can only fail 1 of these questions. If you fail more than 1, you fail the whole test. Next one. So both women can and men can be bishops in Dansk Folkekirken. We got 2 more questions and we're done for tonight with INDFØDSRETSPRØVEN. This question kind of tripped people up, but I talk about it in that video, so watch that video. All right, I can see that it's messed people up here again. So this is definitely a weak spot. Watch that video on the channel, okay? So Nearly Danish TV, just type that in YouTube. And let me just refresh this. Here, sorry, click on popular under Danish values. Okay. Next one, 2 more and we're done. All right. Next one. This is the last one, and then we're done for tonight. And if you want to stay for Melbourne Skip's poem, move on. All right, so that was it. Let's have a look at the podium. Olga at number 3, well done. And Pet at number 2, and can't remember. Adnan HB at number 1, well done. We got Chippy at 4 and Graceful at 5.
NearlyDanish.com.